Hello sister, my name is Jessie Truelove and this is your mom core workout. We are gonna start off with some mobility and breathing drills and then we're gonna dive into our pelvic floor and core workout, okay? You are gonna need a couple of props. You're gonna need a light resistance band to increase intensity if you need it, some optional sliders or gliders, or you can just use your hand on a carpet. You're gonna need a block or something to squeeze between your knees and an optional towel if we need to prop you up a little bit. Let's get started. All right, sister, join me in hands and knees position. We are going into one of my favorite mobility drills, thread the needle. We are working on thoracic mobility here. Take that right hand, slide it underneath your left arm. You can use that left arm for support. We are looking for expansion, lateral expansion in the rib cage so that we can get that optimal 360 breathing pattern that we are looking for. This should feel really good. You want to breathe into it. Imagine your rib cage like an umbrella, opening upward as you inhale and closing as you exhale. The loss of range of motion can lead to chronic back pain, shallow breathing pattern, core and pelvic floor dysfunction, hip tightness and pain, back weakness, neck and shoulder tightness. So a simple mobility drill like this can really help to unwind some of that muscle tightness. If that stretches too much, you can come up to your right forearm. And if not, you can keep that right shoulder on the ground. If you want to take this a step further, you can take that left arm and wrap it behind your back and loop your fingers on the inside of that right hip. Okay, so I really want you to tune into your body here and why you're moving with me today. You may have a tiny baby close by or toddlers watching a show, or you might be moving with me during nap time. Whatever your scenario, I'm so proud of you for showing up today, okay? You've got 35 more seconds here. With each breath cycle, I want you to melt a little bit more into that twist. You may have heard not to do any twisting when healing on diastasis, but fear not. This is a movement pattern that your body was made to do, okay, sister? You've got 20 seconds left, and then we are going to unwind that arm and push up with our left hand and back into that tabletop position, and we're gonna do this on the other side, okay? So 10 seconds here. I want you to just get your last breath cycle in, and in 3, 2, 1, go ahead, unwind your arm, push up into that tabletop position, and we are gonna wiggle it out a little and then move into the other side. So left arm is going to sweep underneath your body and you're gonna drop that left shoulder to the ground, focusing on that twist. You can rest your head on the ground. Again, if that's too much, you can come up to your left forearm. If not, drop that left shoulder down and really twist into it. This is really great for prolapse clients as well. If you're experiencing prolapse, this can be a very restorative position to help that prolapse come back in towards the body, okay? So just continue to breathe, melt into each exhale. Imagine those ribs just moving up on the inhale and down on the exhale. This is going to help us bring more mobility to that upper body to take pressure off of the belly, take pressure off of the pelvic floor, okay? So like I was saying before, this is a movement pattern that your body is made to do. You are probably already twisting as a mom when you're putting, clothes from the washer into the dryer or looking behind you while you're driving your car. So twisting is really important as it's a very functional movement for us to be able to do safely, okay? So again, if you feel like you want to take this a step further, take that right arm, wrap it behind your back, and loop it inside of your left hip bone. We've got 35 more seconds. By creating more mobility in your ribcage and upper body, we can lengthen tight muscles and prep the ribcage for that optimal 360 pattern that we're looking for. The pressure you create from movements, lifting, and breathing has to go somewhere. So if your ribcage can't move, that pressure will go down into your belly or pelvic floor, or it'll stay high in your chest, okay? So both things we definitely don't want. 10 more seconds here, and then we are going to move onto our back and do some more breath work, a 4-count box breath. In 3, 2, 1, push yourself up into that tabletop position, and I want you to safely come onto your back. So roll onto your side and then onto your back. We are going to dive into some breath work. We're gonna be working a 4-count box breath, inhaling for 4 seconds, holding that air for 4, exhaling for 4, and then we're gonna hold out for 4, okay? If you feel yourself straining with your neck or a big arch in your back, I want you to put a towel in those arches to better support you and help your body relax as you work this box breath, okay?
So by holding space at each of these points, at each of the 4 seconds, we are giving our muscles and body a chance to appreciate this new range of motion. You can work at your own pace or follow along with my breathing. We are engaging the pelvic floor and core during the exhale and releasing everything on the inhale. If you have an overactive pelvic floor, I want you to focus more on the inhale rather than 100% max contraction, okay? I like to use pursed lips like you have a straw at your lips. Focus on inhaling, sending air to your ribs laterally, lower back, a little belly, and down to pelvic floor like you are blossoming your pelvic floor open. Sits bones will spread apart, pelvic bone and tailbone drift apart. On the exhale, I want you to engage all 3 pelvic floor openings, stopping gas, squeezing a tampon, stopping the flow of urine, and then zipping up your core from pubic bone to sternum. By this point, you should feel your lower TAs talking to you and that deep core burning. Be sure that your lower back is not lifting off the ground and you don't have a big arch or rib flare. You've got about 25 more seconds here. If you are used to holding your breath or have a shallow breathing pattern, then using this diaphragmatic breathing may feel hard, but I promise you with more practice it will get easier and feel more natural. It takes a lot of time and practice to undo something that you do 1,000 times a day automatically. You got 10 more seconds here. Again, you're gonna practice this box breath a lot throughout this program, so with more practice and more consistency, I promise everything will feel a lot more natural. Great job, sister. We are gonna move into side lying breathing. So roll onto your left side, bring your knees up to your hips, so 90-90 position, and I want you to create a space, if you can, between your bottom rib cage and abs and the floor. As you are exhaling, you're picking up pelvic floor and zipping up your core from pubic bone to sternum, letting all of that air out. As you are letting all your air out, your rib cage is not arching, so make sure you are not feeling this in your back. You want to stay in a little bit of a C curve. So bring your knees up towards your belly a little bit if you find yourself arching back. If you find that you are really straining, you can put a pillow or a rolled towel underneath your head for more support. We're going to be focusing more on this lateral expansion as well as start to address potential rib angle, okay? So if you have a rib flare since being pregnant or notice that your bra width never went back down post-delivery, then you might have a rib flare. And then I want you to focus more on smushing your rib cage down on the exhale. For everyone, I want you to have your hands on your rib cage and follow the movement of your ribs. On the inhale, your hands should move up towards the ceiling, and on the exhale, your hands should get closer to your body. Some of you won't see much movement due to muscle restriction. If you have a wide angle, you might not see much outward movement because you are already expanded out with that wide rib angle. If you have a really overactive in your upper abs, then you might not get much of anything because your ribs are kind of nailed down. So for both situations, you can squish the ribs down carefully on the exhale and then hold as you inhale and resist movement with your hand. Then I want you to try another breath cycle and see if your ribs want to move a little bit more. This all comes with a lot more practice, so try not to get frustrated and just really meet yourself where you are at this point in your recovery and in your healing. We are working on just addressing these muscle imbalances one breath at a time, essentially. Great job. Push yourself up. You're gonna move and you're gonna lay on your right side now. Nothing else is changing, okay? You can go ahead and grab a rolled towel to support your head if you find yourself straining or if it's just more comfortable having your head supported. Again, knees up to hip height, so we're making a 90-90 position. A little bit of a C curve in your back can be helpful as well to make sure that the core is firing and you're not feeling this in your back. So make sure that you're not arching backwards, okay? Again, we're focusing on getting movements laterally, horizontally throughout your rib cage. Think about your ribs like handles on a bucket or an umbrella opening up on the inhale, and on the exhale, think about that umbrella closing, okay? On the inhale, we're looking for movement between your shoulder and your hip. So with a good inhale, you should see some movement happening between your top hip bone and your shoulder. On the exhale, you are engaging pelvic floor, so thinking about closing all 3 passages, like you're stopping gas, squeezing a tampon, stopping the flow of urine, and then think about engaging your lower TAs, so hip bones are going to draw together, belly button is going to come to your spine, and then the upper abs and ribs are going to knit together on the end. So that is where pushing your rib cage down with your hand can be so helpful to kind of nurture that movement to happen if you are not getting it automatically. And again, with more time, more consistently, you are going to see more movement, more mobility, and all of this is going to come a lot more naturally, and you won't have to force it with that hand, okay? So just melt into this breathing pattern. Find yourself. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract and engage. You've got 25 more seconds here to complete our breathing and mobility section of your mom core workout. You are crushing it, sister. I know it can feel overwhelming to try to repattern your breathing, but I promise you this is the foundation that you need to get everything else that you want and to see the healing that you're looking for, okay? That completes your breathing and mobility. Let's move into the rest of the workout.
Okay, so let's dive in. Join me on your back on the floor. Come down in a safe way. And if you have a towel, go ahead and grab it and find a good roll size to place underneath your rib cage. Most of us postpartum, most of us just in society have like an excessive arch in our spine, whether it's anterior tilt or a high hinge point, meaning it's up a little bit further up in your spine. But what we're gonna practice here is something called bracing, which is essentially breathing underneath a contracted core, which is very, very functional, something that we need to be able to do early on. So that's why we're gonna practice it a lot in this program, okay? So thinking about inhaling down into your pelvic floor, 360 back body expansion, exhaling, picking up all 3 pelvic floor openings, back like you are stopping gas, middle like you're picking up a blueberry, front like you're stopping urine. You're gonna exhale, press into that towel roll. If it's too big, make it a little bit smaller. If it's too small, make it a little bit bigger. We're gonna practice just breathing underneath that core being contracted. We wanna send that air pressure into other spaces in our body, like our lateral ribs, a little chest, a little more back, okay? But we need to be able to work underneath a contracted core. Why? Because the mother load is hard and we need to be able to carry toddlers and not be all scrunched over or carry a lot of groceries or do all the things that moms do, okay? So we're gonna inhale just slightly underneath a contracted core. So I want you to think about engaging pelvic floor the whole time. We're gonna hold it here, knitting your ribs together, feel everything coming in towards the midline, okay? The reason why we are putting this towel underneath our back, underneath to fill in our arch, between our arch and the floor, is to meet us where we're at, okay? Bring the floor to the arch in your back. And I want you to use that towel as pressure feedback to breathe down into that towel, into the arch in your back, okay? So we're gonna inhale slightly, exhale fully, engaging, making sure that we're not like gripping, okay? So shoulders stay relaxed, neck stays relaxed, glutes stay relaxed. Exhaling, staying underneath that core contraction, okay? So inhale just slightly, exhale. Hold that contraction for just 5 more seconds. Continue to breathe. Great job. All right, remove that towel. We're gonna come into a 90-90 position, okay? Up against a wall. So grab that wall. Grab that wall space here. And grab your whatever you're squeezing. Okay, we're gonna find 90 position. So 90-degree angle from your feet to your knees to your hips, okay? Find a width that works good for you. Make sure you have no arch in your back. You're gonna inhale, exhale, squeeze that block. Find your inner thighs. It's really important that we find our adductors when we are healing postpartum or healing core and pelvic floor dysfunction, because our adductors insert at the pelvis, so it's really important that we know how to access them without gripping your glutes. So touch your glutes right now. They should be fairly soft, okay? They should be nice and relaxed. We got 45 more seconds here. I want you to inhale, exhale, squeeze that block, find your adductors, glutes are relaxed, they should be nice and squishy. Your hip flexors should be nice and squishy. We're focusing just on those adductors, just on pelvic floor. So squeeze, exhale, contract pelvic floor, contract your abs. Inhale, exhale, squeeze the block, engage pelvic floor, back passage like you're stopping gas, middle like you're squeezing blueberry, front like you're stopping urine. Zip up the core from bottom to top and your ribs knit together. Making sure you're not over gripping, okay? If you are finding yourself kind of gripping everything, which is very, very common, I want you to just try to relax a little bit, make that engagement a little bit less, okay? You can go ahead, take a little break right here. We're gonna pick this back up. Just about 10 seconds. Go one more round. Okay, put that block back in between your knees. Find that great neutral pelvis, no big arch in your back. If you find that you have a big arch in your back, you can pull down on the floor, drag your heels towards the ground without actually moving your feet, and find that your back kind of rounds out a little bit. Inhale, exhale, squeeze. Pick up pelvic floor, engage the abs, close the ribs. Squeezing. Hold here, 2, 1, release. Exhale. Zipping up everything. Give me a 2-second hold. 2, 1, release. Exhale. We're using that nice forced audible exhale to engage the transverse abdominis, your deepest core muscle. Really, really important to be able to be connected to those muscles. Engaging, making sure those glutes are nice and relaxed. Chin is tucked, shoulders are relaxed. Last one right here. Great job. Okay. Come over into a back lying position. Grab that resistance band. Throw it on if you want to increase intensity. If you are brand new, you don't even need the band. It's totally optional. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do next. We're gonna do some knee fallouts, okay? So by keeping your pelvis completely forward and keeping, like your hip bones are headlights, you wanna keep them facing forward, okay? We're not gonna be turning because then your headlights will be going all over the place. What we're gonna do is we're gonna inhale, exhale. Your knee is gonna fall away from your body, keeping those headlights nice and straight, okay? So let's kick it off here. We're gonna inhale, down, 360 back body expansion. Exhale, pick up pelvic floor. As you exhale, you're gonna move that leg away from you. Great job. We're gonna do the other side. Inhale, exhale. You're trying really hard to get minimal movement in your pelvis, almost nothing, okay? I don't want any movement happening in your pelvis. I want you to be really mindful of what's happening at your belly. Are you seeing pooching? Are you seeing doming? Are you arching your back when your leg goes out? I want you to be really mindful of those signs of intolerance, and I want you to make sure that you're not seeing those. If you are seeing those, it's time to modify. So what that can look like is a smaller range of motion, exhaling through the entire range of motion, or ditching the band, okay? We can let go of that band, and that will make it a little bit easier for you, okay? Last one right here, you're gonna get a little break. Just focus on your breathing during these rest periods so that you can become really in tune, really aware, and really connected to your deep core, your transverse abdominis, your internal and external obliques, okay? In 3, 2, 1, we're gonna pick that back up right here. Inhale down. Exhale. That left knee falls away from your midline. Pelvis stays forward, and we're gonna bring that back in a nice controlled way, okay? We're not just flying around here, going as fast as possible. The more connected, the more purposeful we can be with our movements, the better and quicker we are going to gain that connection and function of our core and pelvic floor and our entire body, okay? We are undoing habits that we have had and muscle imbalances that we have had for years, okay? It is not just pregnancy and postpartum that can place these imbalances in our body or these tendencies. It is our society, right? Being in a forward-facing society, driving cars, on our phones, on computers, in school, all these things can really play a role in those muscle imbalances long term, okay? 3, 2, 1, perfect job. So you can remove that band. We're gonna go into some heel slides. So this is where you can grab those gliders, okay? And if you don't have them, that's totally fine. What we're gonna do here, again, neutral pelvis, headlights stay forward, nothing else is moving besides the moving leg, okay? So you're gonna put your heel into that glider, okay? no gap in between your back. If you have a really big high hinge point, you can put a towel underneath that high hinge point to try to bring the floor up to your arch in your back, okay? So we are going to just go into these heel slides. I want you to really press into that glider and drag your heel. So you should feel a lot of engagement going on in the back of your leg, okay? How I want you to use your breath to help connect to your deep core and pelvic floor is as you are moving, I want you to exhale the entire time. Inhale, reset at the top. Right here, okay? You can do alternating, or we can just do the left leg right here like I am, and then on the next set you can do the other leg, okay? Just so you can stay really focused. If you need to remove that glider from the other side, you can, to give you a little bit more stability. Great job. Inhale, reset here. Exhale, through the entire movement. You've got 5 seconds left, and then we're going to do the other side. So maybe one more rep. Great job. Switch that glider to the other foot, or if you have socks and you're doing it somewhere near a tile, you can do that as well. Little reset here. Give me a nice big inhale down. Exhale. Move that leg away from your body and really press into the ground. Engage that hamstring. The hamstring is gonna help kind of create space in the bottom of your pelvis. Once we are postpartum, a lot of moms, a lot of my clients have ended up in this glute grippy, clenched, flat butt position because after we've experienced delivery of a baby, whether you're C-section or vaginal mom, there's a lot of trauma, right? And if you can think about a scared dog, how they kind of tuck their tail to protect the most vulnerable place in their body, that's kind of what we are doing too. We're really thinking about protecting a space that experienced a lot of trauma. So what that can result in is really tight, short, grippy muscles. So engaging hamstrings can help create more space in the pelvis, unclench the butt. So make sure you're not gripping your butt cheeks, you're just engaging your hamstrings. Great job. Really drag that foot, engaging the back of the leg, not gripping the butt. Perfect. Okay, ditch that slider. Grab whatever you were squeezing in between your knees. We're gonna go into a little bridge, like a micro bridge, okay? And we're gonna engage the hamstrings. We're going to engage the inner thighs. We're really finding our adductors during this time because our hip flexors can become really, really overworking in the postpartum population. Just in general, also, a lot of people's hip flexors are tight because we're constantly sitting. So really thinking about engaging the adductors, so squeezing that block, and then just lifting the butt, coming into this little rounded position, and then lowering down, okay? So you're gonna engage, squeeze, and roll up. But I don't want you to think about gripping like the lower part of your butt like you're squeezing a quarter between your cheeks. I really want you to think about driving your hips up, but also bringing your heels back towards your butt, okay? So think about, let's engage your heels towards, so grab, like you're grabbing the floor towards your butt, and then squeeze the block, and then lift. Great job. By engaging the adductors while you are lifting up into this bridge, it still helps with unsticking the tailbone. So if you have tailbone pain, or if you're somebody that feels really grippy or like you have a really flat butt postpartum, this can help with that. Okay, let's relax here. You're gonna have a little short break. I want you to think about dragging your heels towards, you can just slide your heels towards your body and see how it drags you closer. And you really can feel the back of your legs engage, because I want your hip flexors to be relaxed. So you can squeeze kind of right here as you go into this next bridge. Let's try it. Inhale down. Exhale, bring those heels towards you. Squeeze the block and lift up. And your hip flexors, if your adductors are tight and you're dragging, you should try to feel your hip flexors try to release a little bit. And it's really hard to do, okay? So it's not like something that just happens like this first time you're doing it. So just something to check for, like mine want to fire right here. So I really wanna be conscious of like what I'm engaging. So inner thighs, squeeze the block, lift up into that little glute bridge. Glutes are firing. Great job. And you wanna make sure that you're not seeing any pooching down or coning or doming, okay? Everything is staying nice and flat. You're engaging pelvic floor. Everything is staying nice and flat. Using that audible exhale. Great job. You can give me one more rep right here. We're gonna come into a tabletop position, okay? So you can remove that block, get up safely by rolling onto your side. And we are gonna come into bird dog slides, okay? This is a great exercise for engaging the whole core and finding stability from within, okay? So you're gonna find your tabletop position, and I want you to make sure that you're not really arched and you're not really tucked under, okay? So find that neutral position. I want you to push through your hands, push to the floor. You should have a nice even rounding in your back, okay? Your neck is staying nice and neutral in line with your spine. And from here, you're gonna press into the ground. And I want your body to be so still that you are, it's like you're not moving your arm, okay? That means you're applying pressure into all four of your limbs into the ground to create that stability as you extend that arm out. Now to modify this, you can just move less. So maybe you can only move right here, okay? That's totally fine. This is something that you can kind of gauge and track your progress with how far are you able to extend. Eventually, we're gonna get to all the way lifting out. That's another way to make this a little bit harder. You can lift your arm all the way out. Are you able to do that without falling into an anterior tilt? Without pushing back, without reaching forward, okay? So these are all things that we're kind of looking for here to see progress and to see any signs of intolerance. I want you to be really aware of that, okay? So as you extend out, you have a little 20-second break right here. As you extend out, okay, you can just watch me. I want you to exhale. So we're gonna inhale down to pelvic floor to get set. All 360 back body expansion. Exhale through the whole movement. Let's try it together. We've got 60 seconds. Inhale down. Exhale, pick up pelvic floor. Great work right here. I want you to pretend like you have a glass of water on your back and you do not want to spill a drop of that water, okay? So very, very controlled, slow movements. If you don't have gliders, that's totally fine too. Great job. Inhale to reset. Push through all four limbs to create that stability. 8 more seconds right here, and then you are done. Great job. Great job, sister. Thank you so much for moving your mama body with mine. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm honored that you chose me to help you through this season of motherhood.